I'd like to talk about maternity leave as well. I think this is it's a terrible idea. It's been with us since the 70s, and I mean it's just this it's an awful idea where you have this notion that you should pay someone for not going to work, and it's like why in God's name should anyone be paid for not going to work? You know, I believe that we should pay people well, those who actually go to work. I think there's a huge problem with that at the moment, where, you know, a lot of people who are kind of working class aren't paid anywhere near enough what they should be. But with maternity leave, yeah, I'd definitely abolish it.
That's a bit silly.
No, because why should you be paid for not going to work?
Because you're going back to the job when
if I finish my job and I go off travelling, I don't expect to be paid for not being at work.
Having a baby is not the same thing.
Well, I mean, I don't really think it matters what it is.
Huh?
I don't think it matters what it is. I think if you do a job, then you create in value, then you should be paid for the value you
You haven't
create.
got a wife, I'm telling you that.
Perpetration of the species. You're going to clap.
No, it works a lot better as a way of perpetrating this, as a way of continuing the species, because what we see, hold on, what we see in the UK is when we didn't have maternity leave, you know, since time immemorial until the 1970s, we actually had replenishment rates for the species were way higher than the number of people who were, you know, dying, and so we actually had an increase in population. This increased all the way until the 70s, when we started bringing in a lot of these feminist policies, including maternity leave, and since then, replacement rates have dropped. A lot of new female police officers, and some of them are like tiny, 5 foot nothing. I see some of them, you know, their makeup's done up, their nails are done up, you know, and they're there, and I'm sort of like, well, you know, if you wanted to arrest me and I was resistive, then, you know, things would probably go my way. I'm not a hugely strong guy. I'm not vastly, you know, I'm not like a muscle mountain or anything like that. So I kind of have this a sort of feeling that when I see a police officer, I want them to be pretty physically strong. I want them to be someone who would stand a pretty good chance, certainly against me in a fight. That's just my feeling on it. I believe it's a, you know, it should be a physically demanding job, and I think it's a job that someone who wants to do should have to attain a good standard of physical capability in order to do. But with sort of the feminisation of the workplace, what we're doing is we're ignoring, you know, people's physical capability and whether they're able to do a job or not, just so we can promote women into these work environments. And I believe we see this in the police service, in the fire service, and in a bunch of other services, and the result is a sort of degeneration of the quality of that's provided by these services. Sorry? I believe the problem is that a lot of women aren't actually able to physically perform a lot of these jobs.
What sort of jobs do you like?
I mentioned the police service and the fire service.
Yeah.
I believe that.
They can't do anything in the police service and the fire service.
I mean, well, yeah, obviously, you know, you talk about like you sort of talk about, you know, say office work and stuff. I believe they can do that. But when you're talking about,
negotiating or calming people down,
I believe they're good at de-escalation. Yes. However, I don't believe they're good at if the, you know, sorry to swear, but if the shit hits the fan, I just don't believe they're particularly useful in that situation. And if we look at the
Do you want your police to just go around battering people, or do you want them to actually like make a positive difference in the community? If they're meant to be representing the people that are there.
Well,
then they
if
need
the
to
shit
represent
hits the
them.
fan, then de-escalation goes out the window anyway.
Absolutely not.
No, you can't de-escalate someone if they're attacking you.
About what sort of shit is the plan?
Well, you know, if you've got a riot on your hands, if you've got a mad criminal who's out of control, you know, you need to take them down. To be honest,
I've seen somebody do that. I'm not putting myself for myself, but my neighbour is.
Yeah.
I've seen her do that.
Right.
It's very, very negative. Obviously,
I mean,
physical stress.
Yeah.
To maybe overpower somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I probably couldn't overpower you. But could you climb a mountain and do 80 miles on your bike? That's actually couldn't.
No.
I have the physical traction strength to do that, and I
Sure.
can prove it to you.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, okay. Can I just get back onto? Well, you know, so what I'm saying is that I think with sort of with general physical exercise capability, I think there's that's fairly well distributed, and women are able to attain a high standard of endurance. However, in terms of physical strength, I think it's far less women who are able to attain a high level of physical strength compared to men. On average, men are 20% heavier than women, and most of that extra weight goes into muscle mass or into bone density. Women, on the other hand, a lot more of that weight goes into fatty deposits such as breasts and bums and that sort of thing. And the reason why that extra weight goes into that's not rubbish. That is scientific fact. That is. Are you kidding? Are you saying seriously? Are you saying that men do not have more bone density and muscle mass, and women, their weight goes into fatty deposits? That is 100% scientific truth.
Because in the new technology society, technology matters more than weight.
Well, technology doesn't matter if you're a policeman and you've got a mad loony who's on the rampage and they're trying to deck you. Technology, the new technology society doesn't matter so much then. You still need some of the old skills in that situation. Yeah. I'm trying to point out the bleeding obvious. So one of the major myths the feminists have created is the patriarchy myth, and the patriarchy myth states that all men throughout history have all been bastards and they're all horrible and they spent their entire time abusing women. Okay, well that's interesting, but I'll continue. I'll finish my point anyway. So that's what they're saying. The patriarchy myth states that all men have been abusive to all women throughout history, and it's because of their defective male DNA. And I'm saying that's absolute rubbish, and that's not the reason why we came to become the dominant species on this planet. It was not because of defective male DNA, it was because we actually worked really well as a... I'm trying to speak over this guy, that's why I'm going really loud, sorry.
Deal with the fact that it takes both parents.
Yes. Yeah, it does, and that's why we've seen a massive degeneration since we've had a sort of single mum culture, and so now we have 1 in 4 children growing up in a single mum household. That is why we're seeing so many negative social outcomes. That's why when you turn on Jeremy Kyle, and you see a bunch of idiots, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing kind of single mum culture manifest.
Okay, so I should be better brought up. Instead of being brought up just by my single mom, I should be better brought up by my stupid idiot father that it's a drunk ass. I'm sorry, father, but you are not a drunk ass. Well, let's say so. That just beats me and my mother, and I end up in hospital every other month. Yes.
So are you saying that all men are? Are you saying that all men are drunken bastards who beat up their mum and daughters?
Let's say my mom would have been, but
and also, if your dad was like that, did your mum make a good choice in marrying him? Because back in history, social Darwinism would have taken care of that. Because the children probably wouldn't have grown up to old age. the family
Okay, let me
probably
put
wouldn't
an
have
example
managed
on
in
your
a
side.
harsh survival situation if they were all getting drunk and taking drugs all the
let me
time.
put it
And
this
so
way.
social Darwinism
I
would
have
have
an
cut them
amazing
out
father,
of
but
the
I have
gene
a
pool.
degenerate mother that just comes home drunk all day and just takes all the money from my father and just spends them on. Should my father stay with that woman and raise a kid, or should he become a single parent and decide the better off that I would be? I'm sorry, but
Right.
you're just going towards a single woman or a single
Okay,
parent.
so
You
you're sort
don't
of
make a different
what you're.
decision.
I mean,
No.
what I don't like about what you're saying is you're saying that that you know the dad or the mum was perfect until they married the other person,
no, you're
and then
going
after a
against
few
that.
years of marriage, they suddenly degenerated and became this horrible, wife beating, drug taking,
you are saying
10
something
pints
else.
a day monster,
No, you're saying something else. I'm really sorry. You went on for the women because you felt offended by what society feels about men. Because yeah, men do beat a lot of women and so on. But you put it on the other side, and I'm sorry, that's your way of being offensive and turning it around. And that's my closing statement.
Okay, all right. Well, cheers, thank you. This is why I don't have a problem with men making more money than women, because a lot of the time when you see men making more money than women, they still have a wife they go back to, and they still give her a lot of this money, and she still does a lot of the spending. So, I mean, is it worth complaining about that much? And also, if she's back at home, she's looking after the children, and is that a bad thing that she's looking after the children? I think it's quite a good thing. I think it's a much better idea a lot of the time than, I don't know, hiring some childminder, or even worse, what Jeremy Corbyn is suggesting in his new policy document, Working with Women, which is getting a state-sponsored child provider who's probably just going to fill the child's head with a whole load of socialist, state-worshipping rubbish. Meanwhile, the mum and the dad are working 50 hours a week for their corporate masters. I don't see this as being a vision of a healthy working society. I think this is a vision of a society that's gone downhill and is, frankly, isn't working. Any sort of questions on this, sort of the way the world of work has gone, or sort of no points about that? Okay.
Sorry, we are a group of students. They are from the Czech Republic, and they don't agree with you.
Okay.
Could you maybe give reasons why do you have such a stupid opinion?
Stupid opinion?
Yeah.
Can you expand on that? Go on, that's just an insult. Come and give me an argument.
Because we don't agree with you. Because
That doesn't make my opinion stupid.